Can we take a 10-second break? My microphone is all fucked up, and I'm gonna make a bunch of gross sounds. So yeah.
Okay. Take your gross sounds. I can't wait.
Warning, this podcast contains violence, sexuality, gore, and other horrible and disturbing things. Listener discretion is advised. Also, the hosts of this venture are ignorant dipshits, so please do not take anything they say as fact. And enjoy the show.
Now, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin.
Today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be.
It is our basic human right to be fucked up.
A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center.
Putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The defendant shall be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
Oh, cause very charges.
So here's a little bonus episode for you guys, and I want to make this very clear. This episode isn't like one of our regular ones where we research things, or at least research as much as we can as layman people and talk about it. This is more just us venting. This is just us showing up at the computer. I had like a short list of questions, and we just talk about the COVID-19 pandemic. We just talk and vent and about how it's affected us and our like thoughts on it. It's really just us shooting the shit. We're going to do a retrospective on COVID-19 when the major part of the pandemic is over. We're going to talk about the disease, countries' reactions to the disease, the propaganda and misinformation that spread, the political mistakes that were made, the political successes that were made, those that did right, those that did wrong, those that did harm, those that helped. It's going to be a lot to talk about, but we can't talk about it until it's over. Also, the audio quality is remote, because we're practicing social distancing. Enjoy.
Hello, occultists. I am Richard Bigley, and recording with me in pandemic mode, we have... Murray.
Ood Gallifrey.
And this episode, the pandemic episode, is about COVID-19. We are all recording remotely at our own residences because we are under quarantine.
Yep.
Also, this is Occulte Veritatis podcast.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, we're doing.
I said that. I said hello, occultists.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we didn't say it's Occulte Veritatis podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I'll allow it.
She's giving me the stink eye over webcam.
Our groove is off.
I am.
We're not in the same room. Yeah.
I know.
Okay, so I guess break out the poison.
What's your poison?
So, what's your poison?
So, what's your poison?
All right, okay, so I have wine from a box. It's Malbec, and I think it's Copper Moon. It's fantastic.
Malbec are the egg-shaped grapes as opposed to the circle grapes, right?
I don't know. I just know that it's like a smoky, like a more smoky kind of like deep wine.
Yeah, I just
so
pulled
good.
I just pulled that right out of my ass. So.
Fair.
I'm smoking cherry punch. I decided to buy some more government weed, see how it's doing. This has a THC of 26%, and
wow.
Yeah, cherry punch, and yeah, it's packing a punch. It's an indica, so I feel very rooted to my chair.
There you go.
What does it actually taste like? Cherry punch?
Or does it taste like weed?
Probably tastes like weed, eh?
I mean, it's, I don't really get many tastes off weed. Besides citrusy, and like it's a little bit citrusy, but not as citrusy as some of the ones I've tried. The only ones I really taste are the gasoline taste and the citrusy taste. I don't really taste any of the other tastes. I don't taste like spicy and earthy and chocolatey. Like the rest just tastes like burning plant to me. Really.
As a child, Ood had a bottle rocket go right up his nose, and as a result, he has no sense of taste whatsoever. To him, beer and coffee all taste the same. The reviews on all the poisons that he's given you, he's just made them up.
Oh, I still have taste around the outside of my tongue. Yeah. Yeah, the rim.
And I'm sitting here with my THC Cove vape pen with some sort of cartridge with some sort of thick looking oil in it. I've smoked it before. I've been kind of working on this cartridge for a while here. It's been doing me pretty good. I don't even recall what it was called, but the lady at the government store recommended it, so it's been doing all right.
Yeah. Random vape.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's bad.
I know. I'm gonna rate my shit 10 out of 10. I mean, it's pretty good. Oh, by the way, there's a dog chasing her own tail in the background, so that's that sound, if that's picking up.
I have 3 dogs and a child, and there's a fish tank.
Yeah.
It might be a little, like, I'm sequestered in a different room, but you never know.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I also give my Malbec a 10 out of 10.
Fuck yeah.
I give the Cove vape pen a 10 out of 10. It's doing all right.
Right?
Yeah,
you got to take what you can get in these trying times.
Coronaviruses are a type of virus. The one we're all talking about is new, and it causes a disease called COVID-19. Now, most people will only be mildly affected by it, but it can kill. It starts by infecting our upper respiratory tracts, which are the airways from your nose to just above your vocal cords. You may develop a fever as your immune system starts to fight the virus, and a dry cough. That's one where you don't produce any phlegm. The virus can then spread to the lungs, making it harder for people to breathe, and it can cause pneumonia. In the most serious cases, people can die from the coronavirus. This is because the immune system can go into overdrive, and that can lead to organ failure. So we need to do what we can to stop this virus from spreading. As it gets into your body by breathing it in or through your eyes and mouth, the best thing to do is wash your hands regularly and properly for at least 20 seconds. Catch your colds and sneezes in a tissue and avoid touching your face.
Yeah. That's right. These are certainly trying times. I think it's really interesting that they shut down all the businesses except for liquor and cannabis stores. Cannabis stores is a quote allowable business according to the government of Saskatchewan, which is just kind of interesting because it's well, during a pandemic, we got to have the marijuana sales going on, but less than 2 years ago, you would have got your ass thrown in jail for it. You know?
Fuck yeah. Yeah, it's considered an allowable, it can keep open. I think because foot traffic is generally low. I think that's one of the justifications. And I understand alcohol because people can have severe life-threatening withdrawal if it's suddenly cut off.
Mm-hmm. Seizures and such.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just take up beds in the ICU.
Yeah.
Not to put it flippantly, but
Oh yeah, we need as much space as we can get. Canada's fairly well prepared, but we're still trying to flatten the curve like a motherfucker because we're not prepared enough for exponential growth and shit like that.
Well, it's coming and it's working its way through, and you can't stop it anymore. You gotta do what you can to control it, because it's passing through. That's why it's a pandemic. You can't block it, you can't isolate it. You can just try to control it the best you can, and with minimal casualties as possible.
And when you look at the pandemics in history, they're weighed between which ones are the most transmittable and which ones are the most deadly. And this one's low-ish on the deadly side. It's I've seen estimates anywhere from 1.8% all the way to 5%. And as soon as you don't have a ventilator to breathe for someone, it jumps up to 15 to 20%. So that's why we need enough ventilators. But what's special about COVID-19 is it's super transmittable. It has a very long incubation period. And then even after you recover from the disease, you're still shedding it for like days after you recover. So just when you think you're well and you leave the hospital, like you might be still spreading it.
Looking at the current statistics right now, I guess worldwide, there's 663,000 confirmed cases worldwide. Of that, there was 30,851 deaths so far. I guess what they kind of do here is they kind of break it out as closed cases, meaning you either died or you got better.
Yeah.
Like there's really no in between when you get sick, I guess. You get better or you die. And basically what they've found is of the closed cases, there's 172,000, I guess just about 173,000 closed cases where just about 31,000 people died through, as part of their closed case. So that's like an 18% fatality rate in cases that have closed worldwide. So, I mean, hopefully, like, our, public healthcare system can kind of withstand, those kind of odds. But, I mean, they probably run at 110% capacity without a pandemic. So,
yeah,
I mean, we'll see what happens.
I mean, anybody that's been to, well, not even like an emergency room in Canada, an emergency room anywhere, like often they're overwhelmed. Like it takes a long time to train nursing staff and doctors and specialists, and people get hurt faster than people can be trained or incentivized to get the education to treat them. So like it's already packed to the gills, and yet we have this rising tide of new patients that rose out of nowhere because of this pandemic. It's going to stress every system out there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Especially smaller communities. Like I know, like up where I work in like a very kind of isolated area, and all the communities up there have put roadblocks up and barricades, and no one's allowed to stop, no one's allowed to leave because they literally have like 2 nurses and like 1 ventilator up there.
Like, I mean, I know, like I'm some privileged kid that's seen a lot of movies, but like that echoes of like zombie apocalypse movies where like towns start to shut down and nobody can come in because we don't know where it's coming from and shit.
Exactly. Well, they're being safe than sorry because they're really underserved communities, like reserves up in northern Saskatchewan. Like,
yeah.
My
eyes opened up super wide. I was doing a wedding gig way up north. Like it was like a little plane, like 9-hour plane ride way up north to a reserve up there. And I remember...
Which one?
I forget which one at the moment. It's Future Ood, look at my Google receipts and find out where it was.
I'm curious to know.
And like a soup and sandwich cost $34, and like a box of Oreos cost $19. Like shit's just
sounds like
so
Fond du Lac. Or Stony Rapids, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. And let alone getting medical equipment up there. Like Amazon is overwhelmed as it is. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, it's interesting, this COVID-19. Like, I'm not sure if there's any more recent research, but kind of what I've found is that the general consensus is that the virus can remain viable in the air for like 3 hours. So, you cough in a room and then suddenly, it's in the air for 3 hours, kind of based on these lab tests that were done. Of course, that's in a laboratory setting, so I mean they can provide ideal conditions and whatever else. Yeah. But I'm sure in real world numbers, I mean maybe the virus kind of like sinks a little bit faster in another kind of real world setting. Apparently, it can stay on like stainless steel for like 72 hours and still be viable.
Christ,
yeah, that's insane.
I've gripped lots of handrails and all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Well, that's why you get your cleaning done.
Yeah. You never realize how much stuff you touch until you're not supposed to touch stuff.
Man, we're gross. Like humans are gross, right?
I have my hands in my mouth like constantly.
Yeah.
And you're rubbing your eyes and you're scratching at your face and whatever else.
Oh my God. And like touching everything and then putting your hands in your mouth. Like,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh god, it's awful. It's so gross when you think about it.
It's one of my episodes is I want to do like the gross human body and kind of like talk about all the like disgusting things that our bodies do that like, that nobody really wants to talk about or just kind of accept it as fact, even though it's like terribly disgusting and gross.
Oh yeah.
Like how everyone pees in the shower.
I'm sorry?
Like how everyone pees in the shower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like piss in the shower or like pop zits or like chew your nails and like, pick your nose and all that other stuff, eh? Yeah, sweat and like plaque on your teeth and kind of go through a whole bunch of those kind of like different things that, we just, I guess, live with as humans.
Oh yeah, that's interesting as fuck. I like doing episodes like that, kind of like real life lore. Like if we run out of episodes during this pandemic, I'm gonna do like a standalone like dinosaur episode, and you fuckers are gonna learn about dinosaurs, whether you like it or not.
I'm in the process of like recording some shit as well.
Sweet.
For Patreon, like I'm doing like ASMR stuff too.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna be reading. My roommates have it's a book of misaimed like super bigoted morals from the 1940s, and eugenics. That's the one. It's like a manual of like 1940s eugenic theory. So we're gonna read some of that on the Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm recording some Grimm's fairy tales.
Oh fuck yeah, yeah.
And I've been sober, haven't been screaming about it.
So how has this pandemic affected your day-to-day lives and how you conduct yourselves day-to-day? Ood and Sage?
That was the first question on my list. You sharp.
Yeah, I am sharp.
So, okay. So I just got home from work yesterday, and I have been laid off. I am on a coronacation, but up at work.
Coronacation, that sounds like a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, kind of,
We love a coronacation. Yes, okay, so I've been like, my anxiety's been at like a 10. Yeah. And my ADHD meds have not been able to touch my scattered thinking. It's just been a fucking disaster for me. Like I've just been very mentally not good.
Yeah.
But I'm home now. I'm with my family, and I guess like it is what it is, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I found myself at a place of like, I'm not sure whether what I'm doing is ethical or not. Like theoretically, like in China, takeout delivery drivers, which is one of my jobs. I'm a food delivery driver. They kept people from gathering in restaurants and going shopping. So overall, takeout delivery drivers, as long as they properly sanitize, should lower the vector of disease. But I'm still interacting with lots and lots of people, and I practice social distancing.
People aren't letting you drop your shit off and then getting it after you're gone.
Oh yeah, like the places I work for are doing contact free. So I put the food on their doorstep, ring the doorbell, and walk away. And I also set up like a little wash station in my car. I bought a giant thermos and I fill it with super hot water at the start of the day. And I have a little basin in the back of my car, and between every delivery, and I have a bar of soap back there. And between every delivery, I pour some hot water on my hands and I wash with soap. And I try to like not touch my face, and I've realized how much I touch my beard. Holy fuck. And yeah,
I'm touching my face right now.
Yeah.
Stop it, Sage.
Yeah. And like I'm being kind of like picky with like the restaurants I go to, because some of them are practicing proper standards and some aren't. So I'm kind of like declining even good orders from restaurants that aren't, because I'm trying to keep myself well, because if I show any symptoms, like I'm not going to do my job anymore, and then I don't have that income. Yeah,
exactly. Which is something that you definitely don't want.
Yeah. Like I think I'd be able to make it. I don't want to be in obligation like that, you know.
I'm working from home. It was interesting because before this, you're working from home sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just been frustrating me. Like the servers are slow. The technology. I mean, it does the job, and it does the job well, but it could do the job better. And I don't know. Everything to me is just kind of, a little bit lag. You click something and then you got to wait like that half second, 3/4 of a second before something responds, as everything goes through the channels. But no, it's been an interesting curve for me. And I also think that part of the issue is trying to like set boundaries. And I think a lot of my coworkers are having that issue as well, because the whole office is working from home. So it's like, it's not uncommon for someone to like send a message to the group chat in like 6 p.m. and it's like the office closed at 5. Like, put it away. Like, I know you're working from home, but you got to set boundaries. But at the same time, when you set those boundaries, you kind of still feel, well, am I not being a team player? Because everyone else seems to be working still, but it's like an hour after everyone should have left. So I don't know. It's an interesting learning curve for me, to say the least.
I don't know.
I know, like, Mr. Sage Murray has been kind of struggling with that because he's been gone. Like, I've been gone for the last 2 weeks, and he's been working from home while also with our kid.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been trying to work and also entertain a 5-year-old, which, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone.
Tell the kid you'll play hide and seek, and then the kid runs and hides, and then you just don't go looking for him. How about that?
Oh, I've tried that. He gets bored after a while and is like, "Where are you? Where the fuck are you?" So, but I'm home now and I'm on Coronication, so we will be doing some day drunk homeschooling, which will be an adventure.
Like there's any other type of homeschooling, I guess.
Right? Yeah. So, day drunk homeschooling will be my life for a while.
What's going to be strange is, like, this just started. Like, we're really in our, like, first, like, week and a half of quarantine. Like, for some of us, our first week of quarantine. And, like...
Yeah, I'm on my first day of quarantine.
This episode was recorded about 10 days ago. And as we said in the episode, things have escalated. Today, April 6th, the updated numbers for the worldwide cases are 1.3 million, with almost 74,000 deaths. In the United States, they have 362,000 infections, and now reaching over 10,000 deaths, on its way to 11,000 deaths. And according to the projections, it's just starting. The U.S. is due to hit its peak by the end of this week, and it may stay at that peak for a while. And it's gone from 100,000 to 200,000 to 300,000 to now 362,000 in the matter of a week. So, wash your hands and stay safe. Enjoy the rest of the discussion. They're saying, like, a minimum, like, even, like, the super irresponsible, or, like, what scientists are saying are irresponsible countries are saying, like, 4 weeks. So even, like, the super short irresponsible length is 4 weeks. Like, a reasonable length I've heard that a lot agreed to is, like, 3 to 4 months. So this could go on 3 to 4 months, but there's a lot of experts saying, like, a proper quarantine could go on, like, up to 12, 18 months.
Well, exactly.
Well, I'm sure eventually, like, if this sort of settles out to be the new normal, then we can, I'm sure it'll get better. I'm sure we'll become acclimatized to it, and the anxiousness and the whatever else will probably dissipate as this becomes something that we just wake up and this is our day, we're all sitting at home, we're all working at home. What I find very interesting is all these jobs that required people to go on site and into the office and all that shit. And, you got to wear your pants and you got to dress up in a suit or whatever the case may be. And suddenly it's now accomplished in one email or a conference call or a phone call or whatever reason you couldn't be in this job because like for me, I'm looking at it in terms of like a barrier for people like disabilities. Only now has the office become accessible to everybody because able-bodied people are now being affected and have to function. But like disabled people who could have done the same jobs that a lot of other people are doing, except they just can't do it. They have to work from home. Could have been working from home, and we see that now. And nobody's really, I don't know. I just want to point that out. And I hope that when this new normal is over and we have to awaken to the new normal where we can walk outside and let the sun bathe on our, beautiful faces and all that other stuff, that we don't go back to what the old normal was. We kind of see this as, stocks are failing, not because of, because nobody's working, because of a loss of confidence, and we can look at this and say, we really, like the common folk, really just drive the economy, drive business, and, we can create this accessible and accommodating world for everyone. And we've proven we can do this. And I think we should, the world, I think, will have changed. And I hope we don't go back to this old normal. And we look more towards the future of a more empowered workplace.
Well,
it's amazing. So go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I have a long thought. Yeah.
Oh. I was gonna say, it's so amazing how the grocery shelf stalkers and the delivery drivers and the people that we as a society deem don't deserve a living wage are suddenly the most essential workers to our society. Like, who the fuck would have thought?
Labor moves everything.
It does.
Well, and it's interesting, like the habits that businesses hold out of obligation or out of tradition. Like, to rent out a space for your employees to go to do work, you have to pay for the rental space. You have to pay for parking for your employees to the city. You have to pay for insurance. You have to pay for people to clean the space. Like, you're investing a whole bunch of money when the work could be done from home. So, out of obligation, businesses have had everybody come to one location to do their work when they could have been doing it from home. Like, I think to my old, casino job. Like, there's a bunch of departments that could have been done from home. Like, there was a marketing department, and they just called people all day and booked them in to see the casino. They could have done that from home. Like, payroll, that could have been all done from home. They show up, they go into their office, they run Excel on their Windows 95 office computers, and they could do that from home. And it never made sense.
Counterpoint.
Yeah.
Mr. Steve Murray, when we lived in Vancouver for 5 years, he worked from home, and he really missed out on the change in space from home to office, and that really affected his mental health and his happiness and stuff. Like, working from home was tough for him.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because he wasn't seeing people face to face. He was just seeing me, literally, and our friends and stuff. But he wasn't getting to see his work people.
It's a little more isolating, I think. But I don't know. Did he have a group chat? Because my coworkers, we've all established group chats, and while there certainly seems to be no lack of communication going on there, and to be honest, I think perhaps there's too much communication. It's like, Martha, you really didn't have to post that GIF on that group chat again. I'm sure it was pretty funny, but you don't have to post that GIF. Some of us are trying to work, Martha. That sort of thing.
Yeah, even me and some local delivery drivers have a group chat where we keep track of the different changes in our job and complain about the challenges and stuff like that. So I guess even I am reaching out for that camaraderie at some point.
I think it's really important, camaraderie. I can see it from both sides. Obviously, many jobs could be done by people who maybe were excluded from the workforce because of like physical disabilities or whatever who were told that they can't do the job from home are obviously like, yeah, you can do the job from home. But I can still see the benefit in like the work-life balance and having like your work space separate from your home space, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that
could be the worker's choice.
Interesting. Yeah, worker's choice. Yeah.
Could be the worker's choice, because maybe there might be, maybe I don't want to always work from home, and I would go to the office,
Twice
2
a week.
weeks, and then maybe spend a week at home because, I got to cut my lawn or something. I don't know. But, it could be the worker's decision, the worker's choice to, do I want to work in this office building and see people, or do I want to like kind of in and out on a schedule, or just, they monitor me by my computer logins and my computer activity, and they make sure that that's how they know I'm working, because, all employers will be monitoring that like a hawk. But yeah.
No, I love that idea of being able to have the freedom to work from home or work from an office or do like a combination of both. And then, like, I mean, not to give credit, but it would also probably cut down on costs for employers as well, being able to have like a smaller centralized location, right?
Yep. Yeah, just to push the communism a little bit, like a worker co-op. Like, you would be able to vote this in. If you could make a convincing case to the rest of your worker base that, hey, we should have the option to work from home if we can do our job from home, then everybody in the place can vote, because everybody owns a part of the place. And if enough people vote, you could just vote that shit in and change your workplace to your own ability, instead of being like having your thumb pressed on by a small group of people who have control over the majority of the money, even though you do work that generates more. Anyways, yeah.
Something makes me think that worker co-ops were probably well ahead of the curve in this whole like isolation thing for, like I don't have any anecdotal or, statistical, evidence of this, but just, it seems to me like that is probably they would have taken, precautions, and they would have been, proactive on this as opposed to reactive,
right.
Yeah. As a result of working from home, I've decided that I'm going to, that I've ceased shaving since. So I'm going to see if I can like grow like sort of a pandemic beard. Everybody's got their like NHL playoff beard, and I think I'm going to grow a pandemic beard. But I probably won't win any trophies, but I'm certain I'll get some patches.
I think.
Nah.
I was thinking about, since we're so early in, I was thinking about shaving mine really quickly here, and then seeing how long the pandemic lasts and growing a pandemic beard.
Me too. I'm gonna grow a pandemic mustache.
Because this was my winter depression beard, but now, like I'm starting to see spring, so like things are looking up, besides the apocalypse, and yeah,
spring. This is a really weird winter. I think like it wasn't terribly cold for very long, and it's clearly anecdotal, I'm sure, but global warming and all that, but it didn't seem very cold. And now that it's kind of spring is emerging, it's like so weird to like not get that outside exposure to like the warmer temperatures and the more sunlight, because you're inside, you're in the basement, you're working or whatever you're doing, at least that's my experience. I walked out and I'm like wearing this weather jacket and my toque, and I'm like, snow's melting. Like I need a different jacket now.
What the fuck am I doing? I'm hot.
It's hot flashes.
I'm not that old yet.
Oh, okay. So what's the next question on your list there?
Well,
but also it's just my 33rd birthday.
Or that was the only question.
Oh no, there's a bunch of little subjects like this kind of reveals something I want to do an episode on eventually. Is something called the hyper problem. And it's the problem that connects all other problems, and how some huge world problems like affect other huge world problems. And this is kind of like a microcosm of that. So
it's like a capitalism episode is what you're telling me. It's just an episode all about capitalism.
Well, it's a bunch of shit. Like, for example, like toxic masculinity. Like men and like people who identify as men are dying more readily. And like the research is starting to come out why. It's not because it kills them faster. It's because that men more readily and for a longer period of time refuse to go to the doctor to get checked out. And they come in worse shape, and they come in later in the spikes when there's less ventilators. So, like, literally, like, them manning up and, like, refusing to go in for care when they need care is killing them.
Oh, just at me next time. Jeez.
Just fucking at me next time.
Yeah,
COVID.
I don't know. I've seen posts like that, like on social media as well, like some kind of like, oh, this is just a cold, like suck it up kind of thing, and like a bunch of attitudes like that.
Okay, well, like, I will be the first to admit that when this whole thing started, I was like, whatever, it's being blown out of proportion, blah, 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 alarmist, blah, 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 blah.
I thought it was SARS.
But now I'm super happy to admit that I was very wrong, and I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
but it is like SARS. Like I think the SARS I believe is also a coronavirus, and this is just sort of an offshoot of it, is it not?
Oh yeah, I believe like its proper name is like SARS-2 something or other. Ood, look that up to make sure I'm not bullshitting, but I think it is. Past dude, you were not bullshitting. The proper name of COVID-19 is Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2, or shortened to SARS-CoV-2.
It's interesting, some of the like cyanophobia that's coming out of that, people going off about, eating bats and snakes and dogs and whatever, especially like people in government.
Yeah.
Like there's Senator John Cornyn, and he's like, China is to blame because the culture where people eat bats and snakes and dogs and things like that, these viruses are transmitted from the animal to the people, and that's why China is being the source of a lot of these viruses like SARS and MERS and swine flu is what he said. And it's like, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, and like
Jesus,
how it's being messaged, like from the top, like Trump. Like, there's been pictures taken of his notes where Corona is crossed out, and he wrote Chinese in his big, dumb fucking Sharpie pen, and he said that instead.
China.
Yeah, China. Yeah, China.
China.
Oh.
China.
But it's interesting, the progression of that from like, oh, it's a Democrat hoax, this coronavirus, and then as time goes on, he's like, well, I knew it was going to be an emergency, and we started preparing right away as soon as we got word of this, and it was just this perpetual like bullshit to whatever suits his followers,
And then he's like, also, it's Barack Obama's fault.
Yep, because he was handed an improper health system that Barack Obama fucked up or something.
Do you have a plan to contain the coronavirus in the U.S.?
We do have a plan, and we think it's going to be handled very well. We've already handled it very well. CDC has been terrific, very great professionals, and we're in very good shape. And I think China's in very good shape also.
On the coronavirus, we think we have it very well under control. We have very little problem in this country at this moment.
How concerned are you?
Well, we pretty much shut it down coming in from China.
You may ask about the coronavirus, which is, very well under control in our country. We have very few people with it, and the people that have it are, in all cases, I have not heard anything other.
Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low. Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. They tried the impeachment hoax. That was on a perfect conversation. And this is their new hoax. And we're the #1 travel destination anywhere in the world, yet we have far fewer cases of the disease than even countries with much less travel or a much smaller population. Using emergency authority, I will be instructing the Treasury Department to defer tax payments without interest or penalties for certain individuals and businesses negatively impacted. Because of what I did and what the administration did with China, we have 32 deaths at this point. Other countries that are smaller countries have many, many deaths. To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency. Two very big words. There's a very contagious virus. It's incredible, but it's something that we have tremendous control over. It seems to me that if we do a really good job, we'll not only hold the death down to a level that is much lower than the other way, had we not done a good job. But people are talking about July, August, something like that, referring to it, meaning if you're talking about the virus, no, that's not under control for any place in the world. I think I read, no, I didn't. I was talking about what we're doing is under control, but I'm not talking about the virus. Yes, please. Different. I've always known this is a pandemic. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic. All you had to do is look at other countries. I think now it's in almost 120 countries all over the world. No, I've always viewed it as very serious. There was no difference yesterday from days before. I feel the tone is similar, but some people said it wasn't. Today I'm announcing action to help New York, California, and Washington ensure that the National Guard can effectively respond to this crisis. The National Guard, these are tremendous people. They're fully on alert. We've signed what we had to sign, and it's been activated. I'd love to have it open by Easter. Okay, I would love to have it open by Easter. I will tell you that right now. I would love to have that. It's such an important day for other reasons, but I'll make it an important day for this too. I would love to have the country opened up and just raring to go by Easter.
Yeah. Because it's totally not his fault. Nothing is ever his fault.
I don't know. Some things tickle me, like so many people are gonna get this that it shouldn't. Like by the law of averages, something like this would happen. But Rand Paul, he was one of the only politicians who voted no on some big relief bill that would help, like alleviate, help people pay rent and pay bills when they're forced out of work by staying at home and stuff like that. And he got coronavirus almost right away.
I know. Yeah. What is that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's got his government health plan and probably amazing disability and everything else, and he gets paid whether he's there or not. And he's got his corporate backers who are paying him whether he's there or not. And I mean, he's got his, so fuck you all. You know, that's kind of the attitude I think that kind of comes out of that. You know.
Yeah. Exactly.
What do you guys think of like all those celebrities releasing that big, like, I'm going to sing to you to cheer you up?
Imagine.
Because we're all in it together. Like,
oh fuck, we should do that. And it could be like, you know, kind of like inspired by, you know, and oh shit, maybe that should be our like palate cleanser.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah. I think so.
And like cue up some like really shitty like MIDI file of Imagine, and we just kind of sing out of tune and off key at it. How about that?
Yeah, I bet I can screen share like some shitty karaoke version. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Got my vocal cords all warmed up.
Yeah. Man. Shit. What else? Prison. So, prison is another thing that comes in. Like, we're seeing, like, what society considers are the people who should be locked up. Like, there's a bunch of people that are planned to be released from prison right now, and surprise, surprise, it's the non-violent offenders who are deemed not to be harmful to the community.
You don't.
Or at low risk to offend.
It's almost like we didn't need them to be locked up away from society in the first place. Like,
well, especially for like petty drug charges.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off with that classist bullshit.
Yeah. Like, I've been pulled over with weed in my car before. Like, I white privileged my way through that shit. Like, I could easily be in prison for that. If
you're a couple shades darker, you probably would have been.
Yeah. Like, it just seems like such, like, I can't believe people are being put away for that. And, like, that can't be good for, like, their progression and their mental health. Like, that's got to set you back in life. Like, if
well, you hear so many stories about people that go to prison for some, like, stupid bullshit thing, and then they go to the University of Prison and learn how to commit way more devious and way more socially unacceptable crimes.
Yeah. And, like,
why?
Yeah.
It's stupid, and I hate it.
Yeah. Like, you listen to, like, interviews with prisoners, and there's a lot of, like...
So, any conspiracies?
Conspiracies?
Well, I think one of the conspiracies is that they're using this as a means to revoke people's rights. You know, don't talk to other people, stay at home. You know, that kind of thing. Don't you know, to like oppress people's rights or whatever. And it's like, well, no, you should only be out if you have like urgent, important shit to do. You know, you shouldn't be like. You know, it's like, how bad is it? Well, even the anarchists are saying you should listen to the state, you know?
Well, like, I mean, if we want to go deep into conspiracies, like, I've been listening to...
lots of people...
Like,
go ahead, sorry.
I think there's a delay. We're not used to the delay yet.
I know, we're not.
That's all right.
I just like interrupting people.
Shut up! I feel personally attacked.
Oh, I forget what I was going to say. Go ahead. Oh, Alex Jones. Yeah, he has a lot of theories, and like his theories have been evolving. Like how he sources stories is he reads headlines from like super obscure media sources, then he assumes what's inside the article from the headline. Like I listen to a podcast and I follow a website that dissects what he says. And he will read the headline, assume things, and when these people go into the actual article and read it, it's nothing what he says it says. And he adds on to that, taking live calls from viewers, and they have their own, like, crackpot theories. And they, like, evolve his. So his current theory right now, after, like, a few days of evolution, like, I guess a couple weeks of evolution, is... China bioengineered this virus from an ex-AIDS virus. So they made HIV into the new coronavirus. They gave all of China like a base vaccination and released it on China. So none of China has this secret AIDS. And they had all the equipment pre-set up, but they wanted to make it look good, so they let their citizens suffer to make the act look good. And now the plan is, when the rest of the world plunges into darkness and gets sick, China will rise above and become the global leader in economics by raging war on the rest of the world. That's his current theory.
Aren't they already like the global leader on economics? Like everything you touch is made by them. I mean,
oh yeah, and they're not even finished.
It seems like they're already there, you know.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know. At this current point, you know, there is what do we have here in the U.S.? There's 373 cases per like 1 million people. So when you look at those numbers, you know, there's 373 cases per 1 million people in the United States. Yeah. When you compare that to China, that's like 57 cases per million people. And like worldwide average is 85 cases per million people.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. Part of me thinks that has something to do with like private healthcare and people being like, well, I can't afford to get tested. I can't afford to self-isolate. I can't afford to do any of that stuff, you know, and it seems, I mean, I think it's terribly tragic, and I think it's, you know, good good opportunity for some sort of healthcare related revolution in the U.S. to abolish that private healthcare idea.
Yes. Well, but it literally costs you $100 to like go for an annual checkup to like make sure that everything's in working order.
Well, there's so many things amplifying that. Like, let's look at the situation in the U.S. First off, they have more confirmed cases than a country with 1 billion people. Like, they somehow surpass the number of confirmed cases than China, while the population of U.S. is, I think, like 350-ish million. Like, and that's the number of confirmed cases. The U.S. is not testing readily. It's not passing them around. It's not, like, they've increased efforts, but efforts have not been broad. Like, there's still an epidemic of people who cannot get tested. They go to the hospital with symptoms, and they do not get tested because there are not enough test kits. So
the infection rate in the U.S. is 6.5 times more, so like 650% more than what China had.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And it's just
it's just starting. Like, China's on the, they've got that, you got the bell curve where you got the peak, and then things start to taper off and get better, and cases reduce. And I believe China is at that phase, more or less. They've slowed it down. It looks like there's only like 45 new cases today in China, and I think there was like 45 in Saskatchewan alone today or something like that. Like, it was like, it seems like they're on that, like, that downward slope now, where they've seems like they've got that shit under control and are starting to get a good handle on it. And we aren't even there yet. Donald Trump at the helm. Could you imagine that disaster?
No, I don't want to imagine.
There's a haunting tweet from Hillary Clinton in 2016 that says, like, does the world really want Donald Trump at the helm of the office when there's a crisis? And that exact thing is happening. And, like, he's already started...
I found it.
Yeah.
August 8th, 2016 at 13:56 hours from Hillary Clinton. Just imagine Donald Trump in the Oval Office facing a real crisis. We can't afford that kind of risk. And it just seems very, very eerie, very,
And
prophetic.
Prophetic, yes.
And be reminded, like, just to explain it to listeners out there, that, like, what flattening the curve is. Like, the idea is that we want the least amount of people infected at the same time, because hospitals only have a certain amount of medical supplies, and especially ventilators. And if the amount of sick people surpasses the amount of ventilators, then the death rates skyrocket. Like, if you don't give a severely ill person with COVID-19 a ventilator to breathe for them, they are way more likely to die. So that's why the situation in the U.S. is scary. They're not prepared, and they're not going to have enough ventilators. And I think it's going to be, I don't want to panic people, but I can't see it going well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is going to get worse before it gets better. And I'm sorry if that sounds alarmist, but I've kind of come around.
I mean, the alternative, and this is what happened around the Y2K bug, in the year 2000, was, people panicked and people freaked out and people worked hard and did what they had to do and did everything they possibly could to ensure things went as smoothly as possibly could happen.
Yeah.
And what so a lot of people say, oh, Y2K was just a big, people panicked and it was really unnecessary, because most people were not materially affected by anything that happened through the computer systems. Mm-hmm. And part of my thoughts are like, this could be a big thing. I mean, it's got, like I said, an 18% death rate at this point worldwide.
Yeah.
Like just under 1 in 5 people you get it, you die.
Yeah.
1 in 5 is what we're talking here. And, at least at this point. When, it could be much worse. And my thoughts are that those who survive it are going to have like the survivorship bias where they're just going to say, oh, well, it was just sort of a big hoax. Everyone stayed at home and people panicked and bought up a whole bunch of toilet paper instead of joining our Patreon.
Overreaction.
And overreacted, and then nothing happened. And it's like, well, no, people, all these efforts, I mean, except for hoarding toilet paper, contributed to the disease, not catching on as bad as it could have.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, again, people look back at Y2K, oh, it's a whole bunch of nothing, ignoring programmers who spent, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and years and years and years trying to get all the systems prepared so that, we didn't have some technological apocalypse when the year 2000 rolled over. I'm sort of thinking that in a few years, people will look back at this and think the same way,
Yeah. On a positive note, well, positive and negative, worldwide CO2 global warming emissions are at an all-time low.
Good.
Now, hooray!
I have a timer on my phone, and I always install it on my new phones for how many days left until the point of no return. The point of no return is a date in the 2030s. Where it's theorized that if global warming efforts, or efforts to reduce global warming are not put forward, it will hit a point where the change will become irreversible. Basically, if it hits that point, there's no way that we will be able to slow it down or reverse it.
Right.
Yeah. And there's 5,392 days until then, so silver lining, emissions are way down, but I guess the sharp side of the double-edged sword on that is we're not having any productivity on any solutions at this point. So, I don't know, environmental nerds out there, this is a time to, like, educate and do your propaganda, because we need to educate the people while they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think part of the, I guess one way to sort of think of this is, the virus is a physical being, and it is subject to the laws of physics as one is, as any particle, atom, molecule, whatever is. And so, I mean, it's very much like that. It's just like any other sort of particle, and the way it gets into your body is, through, mouth or nasal or eyes or ears or whatever. And, so it's, I don't know, think of it as kind of like glitter, where, you say you cough and you cough glitter.
Yeah.
And then it gets onto your hands. And, anybody who's been covered in glitter will understand, how difficult it is to get rid of. And it's like, so you cough into your, okay, you wash your hands, and then there's still glitter on, on your hands, less amount, but there's still glitter even though you wash. And then you touch a surface, you touch your desk, and then, you move your hand, and then a piece of glitter's, falling off your hand and onto your desk. And then you put your phone on the desk, and now that glitter is stuck to the phone case. And now you're walking around with this phone case, and so it's very much like a particle as anything else. And even though you can't see it, it's, it's still there. And, but at the same time, it's still limited to the laws of physics. So like, say there was some sort of miraculous anti-glitter spray, or soap and water or whatever,
whatever
that can dissolves this glitter, and then suddenly you don't have glitter on your desk anymore because you've thoroughly cleaned it. And soap is really one of the best things you can do, like way better than hand sanitizer. A lot of hand sanitizers, if they're alcohol free, aren't going to do shit all for you.
Yeah.
But soap and water is really good because, like, the body of the virus is sort of a grease, kind of like a fat, kind of greasy sort of like wall around it.
Yeah.
And what happens is, like, soap molecules, think like the shape of like a sperm. You got your head, you got your tail, and the head of the soap molecule fucking loves water, just can't get enough water. So, but the tail absolutely hates water. So it'll bond to anything else that's not water because it hates water. But the head loves water. So they're attached. They're the same molecule. So that's what makes soap so useful when washing your hands, especially with grease and whatever, is because that tail is going to bond to the grease or the dirt or whatever's on your hands. Mm-hmm. But the head of that molecule is going to bond to the water that, you know, you're presumably using when you wash your hands, and then rips it off your skin and down the drain it goes. And it's especially effective with this virus because the virus is a very like oily, fatty kind of cell, or I mean not like cell, but like casing around the RNA and DNA that the virus has. And so that soapy water basically tears on a molecular level. It tears that wall apart. And so the DNA and RNA, or what is it, a DNA virus or an RNA virus? I don't recall.
I think it's an RNA.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Okay, whatever it is,
that.
basically causes that to just burst and spew out and become inactive. I say inactive.
Spew out is the name of your sex tape.
Yay!
Yay!
Yes, that into my phone. Sorry, not sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Richard.
Okay.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, so that's why washing your hands is very fucking important. Yeah. Do that, soap and water. You know, sing the Occulte Veritatis intro. You know, while you're washing the hand. You know, all right, now are you sitting comfortably? Good. Now let's begin. We had 15 days of homicides, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And go on and go on all the way to the Occulte Veritatis.
Your hands will be squeaky clean.
Wash your hand for that. Your hands will be squeaky clean. And so, yeah, just do that. Just listen to our intro. And, you know, afterwards, maybe that'll inspire you to, like, join our Patreon.
Yeah.
And
or maybe,
give us
you know,
a month
whatever.
or something. And so you're, like, fighting the virus.
Understand.
Yeah.
You know, so you're fighting the virus and, you know, giving us a couple bucks while you're doing it. So it's pretty good for everybody,
yeah.
You know.
www.patreon.com/ovpod. We're currently trying to buy a new computer and maybe go on a road trip in the summer for some sweet shit. Well, we were. Maybe the world shut down. I don't know.
Can I just quarantine from... Can we quarantine Sage for, like, ever?
No! Go fuck yourself.
Well, that's the other thing. I just started working.
I was here before you.
That's the other thing. I just started working for this entertainment company that did like trivia nights and corporate events and weddings and stuff like that. And it was a good gig because like I'm getting in early and I'm like friends with the owner. So like we're kind of planning out how we want to build the company from there and what kind of gigs we want to do. But the world shut down now. People aren't getting together in groups. What do?
Nope. Weddings are being canceled.
Huh?
Weddings are being canceled. As a marriage commissioner, I've had lots of weddings be canceled.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It's interesting. Oh, go on.
No, you go on.
Oh, well, I was also going to plug some like research efforts being done. There's a project called Rosetta at Home, and it kind of uses software and like people's spare like CPU cycles because your computer still does math in the background even though it's still, you know, even though you're not doing anything with it. So it uses those cycles to, you know, do math for like molecular analysis of like different proteins and such like that. And recently they've kind of unleashed a whole bunch of COVID-19 research. So yeah, that might be something to look up. Rosetta at Home. Runs basically Linux, Mac, Windows, I believe. I've even got it on my cell phone. So, you know, like you can put all those wasted CPU cycles to use and help some researchers, I think at the University of Washington, do some modeling and fancy math and molecules and whatever and science.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not Bill Nye, so don't ask me. I don't know how any of that works, but I've got a bunch of machines working on it. So
sweet.
That's cool.
I like that actually. Yeah, I'll definitely.
Maybe we could set up like an occulte. We should do like an occulte team. Like I think you can sign up for teams, and we could just like associate. You know, if any of I don't know, maybe if anybody listening to this ends up joining or is already joined, maybe shoot us an email if you want to do a team, and we could set up like an occult team. So all of our combined power at cracking this could be, could maybe be useful
Be a team
at some point. Yeah, it would be a team.
Fun.
OV feedback.
So wait for us to bond even in isolation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. ovfeedback@gmail.com. Yeah, we can build a nice network together.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think that bonding, even in isolation, is very important. Like, sorry to the Discord, but I'm gonna be so fucking on the Discord.
Oh,
you're gonna get sick of me.
Me too. You guys are getting what you paid for. I'm gonna be like using you as my connection to the outside world.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'd be like, hi, I love you. Hi, you look so cute. Hi, I really like the look of your meal. Hi, that drink really looks good. Hi, I really like your boobs.
Yeah, good butt.
Love Sage.
Good butt.
Yeah.
So did anybody find toilet paper in their various rounds yet? Like, I don't know. Is that still a thing that people are hoarding and panicking?
No, you cannot hoard it anymore. Only one per person. And same with hand soap.
Yeah.
Like, I was at Costco earlier today, and there was, they still had some in stock. I didn't buy any because I, hoarded toilet paper well before it was cool. So, I'm just thinking that, or is that a thing? I mean, to me, it's kind of ridiculous. I'm trying to find the rationale behind it, in the sense that, this is a purely respiratory illness. Like, it doesn't affect... it won't give you diarrhea, or diarrhea is not like a symptom of this virus. So to run out and hoard your toilet paper just seems very, I don't know. It's just that irrational consumerism,
I think so.
I don't know.
Well, it makes people feel like they're in control because they're able to be like, yes, I have a shitload of toilet paper. I'm prepared. Instead of being like, oh, fuck, there's no way I can prepare. I'm not prepared.
See, I'm thinking of the headlines in 2050 where it's family finally uses up all of grandma's old toilet paper, from 2020 epidemic.
That's a definite mood.
Yeah, I think we've gotten through most of the subjects I was going to cover on here. I guess what are your plans going forward? How are you making your quarantine work for you? What are you doing to make sure you keep sane and busy?
Well,
sorry, go ahead, Richard. You go first.
Okay. Are you sure? Because yours is probably much more interesting.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, I'm fortunate enough to be able to work from home, but I am a supervisor, so I deal with a ton of questions from customers and staff and everybody alike, as well as have to deal with comments, questions, concerns, and outbursts from people in other branches and managers and head office and all that other jazz. So I don't know. I find that keeps me busy, perhaps a little bit too busy, perhaps way more busier than I actually originally anticipated. But I don't know. It seems to be my foreseeable future, at least. Yeah. Told you. Yours is probably way more interesting.
It's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to day drunk homeschool my son. And also get back into one of the 11,000 hobbies that I have started and abandoned, like needle felting and knitting and cross stitch. So I'm going to get really fucking good at that shit.
And spellcasting.
Pardon?
Spellcasting.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Spellcasting.
Okay. We'll get onto that. All right.
Yep. I'm going to start casting spells. And I'm basically just going to try to go for walks. I have 1,000 dogs. So if anyone needs a dog that's in Saskatoon, come to my house, DM me, and I will give you my address, and you can come take my dog for a walk.
I've seen her. She literally, bunts the dog. She just kicks it out the front door and says, "Get out of here. Go to your new family."
Get out of here.
No, she's very kind to her animals. Yes.
I love my puppies, but if you need to go for a walk and you want a dog to go for a walk, seriously, slide into my DMs on whatever, or email me. So yeah, I'm just basically going to be doing that, and also fixing up the basement that the studio used to be in. We have an air conditioning now.
Sweet.
So that's exciting.
Oh fuck!
I know.
We can do summer recordings without sweating to death.
Yeah.
When the world when the world opens back up, we're gonna be on the fucking ball, aren't we?
Fuck yeah. Yeah, it'll be good. So like our basement should be done, and it'll be good.
Remember that like apartment studio that we were in, and it was always like super hot, and the doors were always closed, and lights were always off, and it was awful. But it was you felt very close. You felt very bonding with everybody else in the studio.
It was very hot.
Yes, it's like a sauna, except everybody's clothed and recording episodes.
I think
I've been very close to just whipping off my shirt like several times at that apartment studio.
Yeah, but go on.
We'll get the timing of this at some point.
What?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, she just says what she says when it pops up because that's what she does when we're all in person anyway.
It's true.
In fact, this is probably why I don't feel interrupted at all, is because I'm being interrupted, but she's just, the lag makes it seem like she's responding to what I just said.
There you go. And I'm not there like literally like screaming and waving at you.
That's part of the recipe though.
I know. I'm sorry, I'm not there to scream and yell and wave at you guys.
So Ryan Miley did up a COVID-19 question and answer video for children. Like he did, and like kids could submit their questions and he would answer them.
Fuck yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. It was actually funny because Declan, the wizard.
Oh yeah.
I had posted this, and one of the questions was, can COVID-19 be passed on to trees? And Declan, of course, being like in the pharmaceutical, because he works for Big Pharma and all that, is like, can it get passed on the trees? What are these in fucking grade 5? And it's like, it was a child's question and answer session.
And he was like, oh, sorry.
It's like, way to show those fucking kids, Declan.
Declan is always ferociously mean to children. I can confirm that.
No, he's always really nice to my kid.
The kid that asked that question was 2, by the
way. Fair enough.
Oh, boy.
Aw.
Fuck. I'm sad he moved away.
I know.
If this remote calling ends up working, we may as well invite him to a recording or two. Sure to be up for it.
Yeah.
We could probably wire something together to like route a laptop into the mixing board so that people could remotely. We'll have to work on that. Once we have like a new home, we should like figure that out. But okay, we're probably done this, are we? Or?
Yeah.
Is there more to talk about?
I think we're pretty well good. Yeah. Okay. And any closing thoughts, parting words for those out there with Corona?
No, but I really hope that everyone takes care of themselves because, you can't drink from an you can't pour from an empty glass. So you got to make sure that you're good before you help other people.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're doing what you need to do, like take your meds, do your exercises, get enough sleep, have a shower, whatever you got to do to make sure that you're good. Because if you're not good, then you're no good to anyone else. And lots of people forget that.
Bigley's final thoughts are wash your hands.
Yeah, also wash your fucking hands. And I love you.
But if you don't wash your hands, she doesn't love you, so wash your hands.
It's true, I don't love you if you don't wash your hands. Sorry about it.
Yeah, hopefully you get the support you need from whatever government you belong to. I mean, it's what you deserve. You are told to stay home to keep this from spreading, so you should be compensated in order to comply with that.
Right.
I don't know, keep your chin up. Reach out if you can. Like, it's kind of a blessing that this happened in 2020 when the world is very interconnected. So reach out to people, talk to people. Like, do Skype calls to hear another person's voice. It's important.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, literally, if you ever need to talk, like, I'm on Coronication, so hit me up. I'm always around.
Send her communist meme. She likes it. And now that Britney Spears has come out as a communist, she really, really likes it. So
I do.
Yeah,
I do. Like, this is one of my favorite, like, fire memes to come out of COVID-19. So
It's like, seize them means one more time.
Alrighty.
Amazing. Love it.
So I have, playing us out, I have John Lennon in a lower key that we can watch together and sing the karaoke of.
Oh, fun.
Because unlike those celebrities, we are part of the working force. We are not part of the 1% that has this giant mansion to escape from the world from.
There's no karaoke version on YouTube anywhere that we can croon to.
Oh, there is. There is. I'm actually setting up.
Because then you could like do a screen share, and then we could all like sing along with the words, you know?
Actually,
yeah, okay, I can turn on
and it'll
my
be like
camera.
that "We Are the World," but like that really awful one that like they just tried to do, but it's not really "We Are the World." But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually setting up a watch together room where we will watch the same video synchronized.
I like to watch. I like the way your sounds. What? It's a Prozac song. Have you heard of Prozac? Is that only a thing that I know of?
No. Fuck yourself.
Heard of Prozac.
You never heard of Prozac?
Future Ood, insert a Prozac here. Exactly.
Oh, okay, here we go. Let's together.
Exactly 4.9 seconds of a Prozac.
The song I like to watch. It's the best Prozac song ever. Sucks to Be You has nothing on I Like to Watch.
Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Okay, Richard, are you in this?
Maybe Strange Disease would be more appropriate. I don't know.
Richard, are you in this room yet?
No, how do I get there?
Oh, I put the link in the group chat.
Oh, shit. Well, now I suddenly got the link. Watch together. Okay.
Yeah, go on there.
It sounds like the title of my sex tape.
Yeah. There we go. All right, well, there.
Already.
One user. Okay.
Tomorrow, press play.
Am I supposed to hear? Oh, there we go.
I think we might be out of sync anyway.
Oh, imagine there's no heaven.
It's easy
if you try.
No hell
below us.
Above us only sky.
You're like half a second behind me.
Imagine all the people living for today. Oh!
Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. That's what she said. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine people
living
life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer,
but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be
as one.
Imagine the song tricked me there. I thought it was done. I wonder if you can.
You're almost synchronized there. Almost. No need
for something.
A brotherhood of men.
And women and trans folks.
Yeah.
Imagine all the people
sharing all the world.
Oh, you may say I'm a dreamer,
but I'm not the
but I'm not the only one.
You guys suck.
I hope someday you'll join us.
And the world will be as one.
Will be as one.
Yay!
Okay, so I hope that comes out as just jointed as it sounded on my end.
As the recording was?
Yeah. The celebrity version was
Super
off-key and horrible too, so that this was a successful parody. Let's do an after show right now.
Yeah, let's do an after show right now. Hey, look up, Panda. I need to go get more wine.
So, like,
fuck off, dog.
Speaking of Patreon, like, even people on our Discord are starting to complain that we don't, like, plug our Patreon enough.
I know!
So, I don't know.
I always plug the Patreon.
Let's dedicate...
I'm the one who's in it for the money, you know?
Yeah. That's what this cult is focused on, making money.
It is not.
Isn't that what they all are, though?
Our
like Creed Bratton, you know, you make more money as a leader, but you have more fun as a follower.
Yeah. Val is cleaning up. The universe is bending to her will, and we're doing all right. We're having fun.
She's putting the final boots to the capitalist hegemony, as I've often prayed to Val to do.
Yeah. I wonder if this will lead to any kind of revolution. If this is going to be enough of a jumpstart.
Well, it has to. I mean, it's, you know, like you can't expect people who are already stretched tightly to fucking endure this, you know, especially when you see fucking Boeing asking for like $50 billion or whatever the fuck it was that they wanted. Otherwise, they're like, oh, we can't make planes anymore. And it's like, so then perish, you know?
But like, I guess back on the subject, like we love doing this show. Like the reason it's gone on for so long is because we genuinely like producing it. We like trading stories with each other, things we find interesting, and like we're gonna keep on making it regardless. But if you have some extra income and you feel like you've enjoyed this free product for a while, you feel like you've consumed a bunch of shows, maybe think about like pitching something towards like a little as $1 a month. You can do $6.66 a month if you want to feel like an edgelord. You can see that coming to your bank account every month. Feel hardcore, stuff like that.
You could also be like, there should be like sexy edgelord option where it's like you contribute like $69 a month.
I like that.
Or like $69.69. Oh, can we get sexy edgelord? I want sexy edgelord as an option on the
Okay, by the time this episode comes out,
$69.69.
By the time this episode comes out, check out the new sexy. What was it?
Sexy edgelord.
Sexy edgelord occultist level. I'll figure out some bonus for that. You'll get a pube from each of us in the mail. No, just kidding. I don't know.
I'm actually okay with that. I will send my pube just as long as they agree not to DNA test it and confirm my identity.
Yeah. Right? I'm okay with it too. I will literally grow my pubes in order to be able to send a pube to the $69.69 sexy edgelord patron.
If you want a lock of my hair too for the sexy edgelord thing, I'll my next haircut, I will send you a lock of my hair. I'll maybe even trim my nose hairs if you want a nose hair too. Any hair on my body, you can have it as a sexy edgelord. So like sign up for sexy edgelord level.
Yeah, at least enough to do black.
I'll send you pictures of my feet.
Yeah. We can do that.
I have really cute feet. I've been contemplating it for a while.
I'll send pictures of my elbows. I have really sharp elbows.
There you go. You do.
Yeah.
You do have fairly attractive elbows.
Fairly attractive. Wow.
Whatever. I was trying to be nice.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hit the gym and I'm gonna buff up my elbows. I'm gonna do elbow ups and elbow raises and elbow squats. It's gonna be great. Alrighty. Yeah, so check out our Patreon. Like, if you have any extra money, you get some entertainment out of this program, consider signing up. Once we hit 100, we're going to go on a field trip when the world opens back up. And we have some plans. And also, we're going to still...
You do? Yep.
Yeah, and also, Leon has said when we get to 100, he'll come back. I don't know what kind of gambit he's running, but those are the standards he set, so yeah.
Oh, I mean, if Leon's poison chart translates into any sort of cohesive pattern. I'm not sure how many Patreons he's looking for. So, but he might be back sooner than later, from my understanding and my conversations with him.
Interesting.
He may be hanging out with me a lot more than he used to. So,
makes sense. Yeah. So, patreon.com/ovpod. Check it out.
I don't think we said goodbye from the episode part.
Oh shit.
Okay, well, we'll have to edit this one in then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And for Occulte Veritatis, I am Richard Bigley, and teleconferencing with me we have
There's Mary interrupting as usual.
And Ood Gallifrey. Have a wonderful evening.
The best part was I pointed at my monitor, and they both see me pointing at them on the other side, I think. So it was kind of funny. And
no,